So far, we've talked about Tecumseh. We've talked about Murderer's Branch versus Murderer's Cave. We've done an introduction into Morgan Station. Today, I want to talk to you about the story of the woman in the cave. The woman in the cave made it to the historical placard that used to sit out here in front of the house. From what I understand, a number of years ago, the placard was taken to Frankfort for cleaning. But it's a story that I have a hard time accepting. Now, I showed you a video of the cave. It's a small thing, 4 feet tall, 9 feet deep, 14, 15 feet across. And as far as I know, water has been flowing out of that cave since it's been there. The only exception to that was there was an earthquake here in Montgomery County in the 1980s, and the cave did stop flowing at that time. They went in with a ramrod and poked up in there until it started flowing again, and since then it's been flowing ever since. There's a cistern been put in below it. Back in the day of the fort, they would have probably just dug it out a little bit where they could scoop up bucketfuls. There's a pump house up above it now, and until city water was brought in here just a couple of decades ago, the water from that cave is what has supplied water to the house since it's been here. There are at least two versions of the story of the woman in the cave. First one, the one that made the placard, says that she held up here, hiding from the Indians, giving alarm, warning everyone that the Indians were here and about to attack. The second version, a little more gruesome, is that she had an infant with her who she could not keep quiet, and in her fear and anxiety of being taken by the Indians, she ended up smothering the child. Now, we're going to talk about both of those and why I do not believe either one of them. It's interesting to me that people will stop by the house occasionally, whether they're interested in the history or they actually had a relative who lived here. And on 3 different occasions, I've had someone stop by who claimed to be a descendant of the woman in the cave. And I don't doubt that they believe that they are. I'm not accusing anything of anyone. I just don't believe that the woman existed. And the evidence for that, I think, is strong. For one thing, the cave faces south. It's 30 feet downhill below the house. And anyone in the cave seeing the attack, giving alarm, would have had to look through the hillside, would have had to look through the fort, which would have been here behind me, and to the north to see the Indians coming. There's no way anybody over there would even know that the attack was taking place. Furthermore, when Reverend Shane interviewed the people from the fort, it was very well documented who was here, what they were doing, what was going on. And from all of his notes and interviews, we know that 2 people died during the attack. Neither one of those was an infant. So there is no mention of the woman in any of those histories. There is no mention of an infant who was killed here at the fort. Furthermore, nobody knows the name of the woman who was supposedly in the cave. The first documentation I have been able to find that mentions a woman in the cave was written 100 years after the attack. I just don't believe she was here. Okay, so you've heard my evidence as to why I don't believe the story of the woman in the cave. And as far as those people who think they may have been related to her, I would imagine that they have somebody in their past, a great uncle or grandfather perhaps, who, not unlike myself, might have said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, I know the woman in the well, the one that smothered her baby. Yeah, that was my great grandmother." Tune in next week and we'll talk about why the settlers weren't carrying their muskets, why it was they felt safe. Thank you all for listening to these videos. I appreciate it very much.